Welcome back to Soul Strings, where we dive deep into the heartbeat of music and the stories behind the artists who move us. Today, we're joined by a voice that St. Louis knows very well, a powerhouse vocalist, a master of the sax, and a performer who can take you from rock anthem chills to soulful stillness in a single breath. Here's the frontman of the iconic band Superjam, the voice behind American Greed, and a musician whose journey has crossed stages across the country and around the world. Please welcome a man who brings equal parts soul, fire, and authenticity every time he steps on the stage. Dave Farver, how you doing, buddy? Good morning.
I am great. That was such a nice intro. I really appreciate it.
You bet, brother. Well,
I'm flattered.
it's true. I mean, you've done quite a lot, and you have graced the stages across many places, many towns, many states, many countries, and here you are back in St. Louis and doing some great things. I feel like every time I turn around, I see you on somebody's stage doing something. So.
I try to keep busy. Yeah, for sure.
Hey, what was the moment you realized music wasn't just something you loved, but it was something you had to do?
That's an interesting question. There's probably been several instances, but the one that comes to my mind most distinctly, there's a club across the river from Cape Girardeau where I grew up. It's called the Purple Crackle. I don't think
Oh my gosh, I remember
it's
that.
called the Pink Pony now or something, and you know what they do in the Pink Pony. But anyway, I was up there playing with a band called Like Normal People, and I don't know if we were a Dire Straits song or something. And the place was just packed. This was a midnight to 5 a.m. club. And, it was probably middle of the night, 2 a.m. or something. And we're just up there jamming, and the place is packed. And it was just, I was having so much fun. I was just so blissed out. I'm like, this is it. This is all I want to do ever again. And I think a lot of musicians have that moment. And from then on, you've got the bug, and there's no turning back. I hate to talk about it like a disease, but it gets in your bloodstream, and you can't. It's an unstoppable force after that.
Has there ever been a time on stage though where you've gone, I know we'll get to it in a minute as far as you're transitioning in some ways in music, but has there ever been a time to where it does kind of get monotonous and it does get kind of like a 9 to 5 job, which we never want, because everything, when we find that niche, that thing that we want to do in life, it's because we love to do it and it's no longer a job. But has it ever gotten to a point where it just felt like it's a job?
Yeah, I mean, Super Jam, this is our 16th year, and at times we cut back last year, and that needed, because we were just honestly just playing way too much. And there were some weeks we were playing like 5 nights in a row. And even though that was kind of the norm 20 years ago, you play a play set up on Wednesday and play through Saturday. But anyway, just, I'm not a young man anymore. And so, yeah, when we're playing that many times, and plus, your voice wears out after 3 or 4 nights, So, yeah, at that point when it's like, did we sing this song tonight, or was that last night or the night before? Have we already done this song? That's when you're like, I think I might be doing this too much. So, and I also want to diversify. I like all kinds of music.
Me too.
And I've done classic rock since I was 17. That's when I started playing out in bars and stuff. And a lot of it, of course, is, Bob Seger and that ilk because of the sax. But so yeah, that's a lot of that stuff. I'm ready to play some other genres. I've started a yacht rock band called the Portholes, and we're getting to do a lot of more interesting material that has more intricate chord changes and is more thoughtfully written and more skillfully crafted, like Hall & Oates, Steely Dan, Christopher Cross, that kind of stuff. And it's just a lot of fun to play, and I haven't had a lot of opportunities to play that material. So yeah, so I've been diversifying and moving out into other genres, just to challenge myself, but also just to make it more interesting,
Yeah. I don't know how old you are. I'm going to be 65 in April. And it's like, I remember the 70s were like, they were just incredible. I mean, we were blessed not to have the internet in front of us all the time. Yes. Because, and everything was simplistic. The music was great. It was just kind of a laid back time where we didn't go after each other because of whatever views we have, no matter if it's religious, political, or whatever. Yeah. But I mean, it was just a simpler time, and the music reflected that back then.
Yeah, I agree totally. I think it was the glamour of the 60s, of course, there was amazing art made in the 60s, but by the 70s, I think people wanted to take a breath and relax a little bit and chill out on everything and just say, look, let's remember why we're here. We're here to enjoy ourselves, not to bicker and cause pain and suffering.
Right. That's what's so great about music. It can music brings people together. And it doesn't matter what you feel or what your differences are, but you hear a song and it's kind of like all of a sudden instantly everybody's together, which is really cool. Since the song Together with American Greed.
Great segue.
Let's talk about that, because that was before Super Jam, American Greed with you and Mike Meese. And let's talk a little bit about the band American Greed, what that was like to get that started and do something different, I'm sure me and you feel the same way. Sometimes these cover songs can get a little monotonous and we're just kind of like, okay, do I really have to play this song again? So when we do something original or involved with something original, it's just like, wow, a ray of sunshine. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I've been able to be involved in a few original projects. The first one was Sunsawed in Half. I got to do that for, I don't know, 5 or 6 records, and we did a little Midwest touring. In fact, we did this Yamaha Ticketmaster Battle of the Bands thing, and we were finalists with what was the name of the band? Verve Pipe, and the Verve Pipe had a hit called The Freshman. But anyway, we got to do some shows with them, so it was a great time. But after that, I was in cover world for a good 15, 20 years after that. So Mike Meese approached me about this project. They had some songs, and my good friend Matt Arana, who I played with in a band called Kingpin for years and years, was in on it. And, I got a lot of affection and respect for his abilities and the kind of music that he likes. So, and then I think we had Bobby Guion on bass, I believe. Yeah, we did. We recorded with him. And they had this producer that Matt had used when he was doing the Mesh band, which turned into Modern Day Zero. Marshall, it's going to escape me also. Malcolm Springer. And so we went to Memphis. Yeah, we went to Memphis and recorded some stuff, and then we finished up here. But it was one of my first experiences with being in on the songwriting. In Sunsawed in Half, I was more about playing keys and singing backups and playing saxophone. But this, I was actually in on helping write the songs. We all brought songs and we changed the arrangements. Malcolm had a lot of ideas as far as we did rehearsals with him before we went in the studio. And so this is the first experience with, this is how it's done. You get together, you polish the songs, you work on the arrangements and figure out what you're going to do, get a game plan before you go in and know exactly what's going to happen, so you don't waste a lot of time in the expensive studio. So yeah, that was a great experience for me. And since then I put out some of my own original stuff and using some of the skills and knowing the pitfalls and things that you need to watch out for going in helped out a lot.
Yeah, so with all these bands that you've been in, and you play the sax a lot in a lot of them, and then you, like El Monstero is one that you play the sax in a lot, and everybody knows El Monstero. We just went to the last one this summer at the I just still call it Riverport, but the Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. Sure. And it was phenomenal. I mean, just a great show, and you were phenomenal too on what you do.
Thank you.
With saxophone and vocals, there are two different lanes in a way. But what came first for you? Was it the sax or was it the singing that came first for you?
It was saxophone. So I really wanted to be a drummer. So when I went in 7th grade, I knew I wanted to be in band, and they give you some preferences, but they already had too many drummers. And honestly, the only reason I wanted to be a drummer is because they get to screw around in the back of the room, during band class. They didn't seem like they had any rules back there. It's like, that looks like fun. I want to be back there with those, but they had too damn many of them. And, luckily, I kind of got forced to play the saxophone. But I mean, I really, I learned to love it pretty quickly because I was a huge rock and roll fan already. And so beginning to dig into the kind of music that has saxophone in it. And of course, you have jazz band. So I was introduced to new genres. That my dad was a big jazz fan. He was like modern jazz quartet. He had tons of their records. And he was into classical too. So I'm indebted to him for introducing me to music at a very young age. Yeah, so I started playing sax in 7th grade, and then played a jazz band in 9th grade, 8th and 9th grade, in high school and college and all that. So I'm dyed in the wool as far as jazz goes too. I was introduced to that early on, playing the instrument. It's
That
good for
yeah,
that style. Obviously, it's a lot of horn.
yeah, I love horns. I love horn sections and bands. I mean,
Mhm.
it, I kind of feel like me and you agree on the same type of music. I like all types. People go, "What's your favorite type of music?" It's like, I really don't. I like all types. I can listen to Frank. I can listen to Norman Brown. I can listen to a jazz guitarist. I can listen to
And by Frank, you mean
Rick
Zappa,
Braun.
right?
Huh?
And by Frank,
Yeah,
you mean
no.
Zappa.
I met Frank Sinatra.
I
I never could get into Zappa too much. I appreciated his uniqueness and his creativity, but I just never was a big Zappa guy. Just never got it. I think the reason why, and you can maybe understand this, being a vocalist, being a singer, I was always going after the guys with the singing abilities. He could
Sure.
sing, but it wasn't
Yeah.
so much singing for Frank Zappa. All the time.
Right. He was fearless, and he wanted to be on the ragged edge. Well, and he was a genius. So sometimes it's not super approachable to the average ear, because he's out on the ragged, the front lines of trying to do something new and different. So it's going to be off-putting at times for sure. But he was also a comedian. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
he wasn't taking any of that stuff.
Some of that was kind of a pushback to the music industry. It's
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Commercial music industry, he despised. Yeah, he absolutely despised it.
So I got an interesting question for you. So in Super Jam and other bands or anything that you pick musically, when you pick a song that you want to sing, are you picking it mainly because it's got a great sax part or because the vocals are awesome? I mean, or does it kind of go blend together sometimes?
Honestly, in Super Jam, on the average night, I'll play maybe 2 or 3 songs on the sax. So, one of the reasons that I decided to leave Super Jam at the end of this year is that I want to play more saxophone. I get back to what I originally got into music for, and that's to play the saxophone. The vocal stuff came later by necessity, just being bands that you need to sing backgrounds in. I was a utility guy. I would play keys and sax and backgrounds, and then eventually I front man. But so when we chose songs for Super Jam, it was more about, we had a very specific time frame. It was basically 77 to 83. And of course, the name will tell you that we were hearkening back to the Super Jam shows at Busch
Right.
Stadium. And so those bands, REO, Journey, Foreigner, all that kind of Boston. Well, I don't think they played any of them, but Sammy Hagar played a bunch of them. So we were really honed in on the bands that played those festivals. And then we added in everything that was around that. Well, April Wine, we did a ton of that because they were at those shows too. So it was very focused on those bands. And then, the KC classics that surround arena rock, I guess, is what you would call it. The grand epic kind of rock songs that have keyboards, because Joe Dirt was around, they were like the hottest band in town as far as classic rock. And we wanted to avoid their set list because they had that covered. So since we had a keyboard player, we focused on keyboard driven.
Pretty good one too, I will say.
Yeah, James Wolfe is phenomenal.
Isn't he?
My God, I mean, he's just his facility and his accuracy as far as sounds go. They're just dead on, and
Oh, yeah.
the notes are dead on, and the chord, the formations of the chords. He's got little bats tattooed on his finger, so when he's playing, he's got all these flying bats.
I never knew that.
Yeah, he's got one little bat on his finger. It's
I never knew
hilarious.
that. Of course
Yeah.
he would think. Of course he would think of that.
Yeah.
I had the privilege to play with Jim and sing in a band for a short stint, but it was enough to understand him. And well, shouldn't say understand him because he's
Enigma wrapped
that
in
should tell you I spent enough time with him already if I tell you that, right?
right, exactly. Wrapped in a quandary. Yeah, but he's phenomenal, and I will miss all the lush orchestrations and stuff. I've actually taken on some keyboard stuff. I used to play a lot of keyboard, but I'm not taking on Boston or anything like that. It's mainly stuff that I can do, the simple synth lines and stuff like that. Or this new band that I'm playing in with Mark Crowell. It's called Box of Chocolates, and we're actually learning some yacht rock too. We're learning. You mentioned Player, Baby Come Back. and it's got a lot of moving chords in the left hand, which is challenging for me. I'm a kind of a roots guy because I'm a very basic keyboard player. So I'm having to learn, how to play sevens and playing a five in the bass and making those transitions and stuff. But I'll never get to James's level. It would take a lifetime.
Yeah, he's pretty incredible. So tell me a little bit about the song Together. Let's go back to American Greed because I remember that song, and it's a great song. The COVID came back to life, and what a great song for that time period and what was going on. Tell me a little bit about that. I know Mike called you back and said, "Hey, we're putting the band back together. We got to
Right.
get this song out there." But it took off and it got a lot of notoriety. Tell me a little bit about that, and especially overseas.
Well, he had created a video with a friend of his, and it just had a lot of shots of first responders and folks in the medical industry, and people that were going through a hard time. And it was just the song, which was written way before the pandemic. Really kind of spoke to that because there were a lot of times you couldn't be together
Right.
during that time because you just had your bubble of your people in your household or whatever, and you just didn't get to see your friends and relatives like you were used to doing. So yeah, it lent itself perfectly to that situation, and so a lot of people really related to it, and it took off. And I wish I could remember. I mean, it seems like it got up to like 500,000 views or something.
Right.
This huge amount. So it's like, well, why don't we try to, put something together and maybe do some shows, at some point, and capitalize on the success of the song. But it just meant a lot to a lot of people, and it was touching to see how many people really showed their love for American Greed, because that song really, seems like it consoled them a little bit during that time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great song. Yeah, I wanted to hear your perspective on that because just to be on that side and see all these views start to happen and just like,
Yeah, it was crazy.
yeah, that's a great thing. You've played thousands of shows in all kinds of places. How have those experiences shaped you, not just as a musician, but as a person?
Wow. Well, it's funny you ask that because I've kind of changed my perspective just the last few years, honestly, because I was starting to get a little jaded, honest, just to be truthful with you. And I was taking for granted, how much support we had out there, and the number of people that would come out to see shows. Like I was saying, we were playing too much. I was getting burned out. But recently I've just realized that, man, gratitude is everything. I mean, you just have to remember that you would not be able just being able to play music on a full-time basis is an incredible blessing. But just the support and the camaraderie, and all these people love this too. So when you're on break, you're talking about these albums, you're talking about where you were when you heard the song for the first time, or whatever, just getting to know the people. So I've come to realize that it's all about the people that come to the shows. That is the reason to do this. You got to let go of your ego and realize the whole reason we're doing this is because people love that music so much, and we should be in service to that, and let go of our personal, just always, I study Buddhism a lot, and there's a lot of clutching and grabbing and trying to get the next thing all the time, and forgetting how lucky you are in the moment at that time when you've got a bunch of people singing along with this song that they love, and you have the opportunity and the privilege of performing these songs. So I feel I've just shifted my focus is when I'm performing, to remember that it's for all those guys that come out, because we would be nowhere without them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great.
Yeah.
Like, give me, people know you from being on stage, but they always want to know a personal side, something. What would surprise them about you, about something that's off stage?
Hmm.
And I
Well,
say surprise them. So, yeah.
yeah. Well, something that my wife has realized, we've been together some 7, 8 years, something, and that I'm kind of an introvert, really. If I'm not on stage, I'm okay with just being in the corner and nobody really, not, I don't have to be on 24/7. Some performers are different like that. They're more like an MC. They're more of an entertainer. And I guess I would categorize myself as more of a performer. I'm more focused on getting the songs right than hello, my baby. Hello, my honey.
Yeah.
The razzmatazz. I don't wear the but as far as something that's surprising, yeah, I'm actually not trying to be the center of attention when I'm not on stage. That I'm really more comfortable just kind of being in the background. In everyday life. Yeah, so I go from the extremes of wanting everyone to pay attention to what I'm doing, and please nobody pay attention to me right now. I go from those two extremes, really. There's not a hell of a lot in between.
Yeah. Well,
So it's
you
kind of
get
a thing.
kind of shut down. Yeah. Right. Kind of shut down and kind of just,
Yeah, I guess so.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of adrenaline rush when you're on stage, whether you've been doing it for 50 years or even just their first night. There's still a lot of adrenaline rush that gets on stage,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
it wipes you out at the end of the night. You're like, okay,
Yeah,
just
you can be kind of
just want to
sapped. Yeah, yeah.
I just want to chill out. Hey, tell me let's talk real quickly about some of your solo work you've got going. I've got your website down there on the bottom for everybody to see and encourage
Thank
them to
you.
go to your website and
Appreciate
check
that.
out some of your music. And let's talk a little bit about that, like Crystal and Machine and some of the other stuff that you got going.
Yeah, those two records I put together with Ratha Khan. So that's Obed Khan, George
Mhm.
Potso, and Daryl Whitehead. We would gather over at Obed's house and record on his equipment. And we worked on the songs and the arrangements. I had about a dozen songs that just been sitting that I wanted to get to and just never had the time, and had plenty of nothing but time in 2020. So that was our little bubble during 2020, and we recorded two records. Machine is more rock and roll, and Crystal is more kind of groovy, funky kind of thing, more keyboard oriented, and Machine is more guitar oriented, I would say. So that was just a blast. I had so much fun just hanging out with those guys, because they're brilliant musicians. I don't know if you've ever seen Ratha Khan, but they lay it down. They're a power trio to be reckoned with.
Yep.
And so yeah, I got to play with those guys, and then I took it out to. So Lee Skiles was a drummer in Super Jam. His son lives out in L.A. and mixes. He's a producer, and he does that for a living out there. And he said, "Man, you should go work with him. He's got a Nev board that he has access to." And so I went out there, recorded some new vocals, and we remixed it. And yeah, I think it turned out pretty well. Pretty proud of that. But I've got another one. So I'm working with a guy named Ken Case right now. We did a lot of work together in Sunsawed in Half. He's got a lot of solo stuff out. He's a brilliant guitar player and arranger and producer. He did a lot of vocal arrangements for us in Sunsawed too. So I've been going over to his house and working on stuff, recording stuff in here in my studio, and sending it over to him. And he's got a lot of ambient type of music that I played on. And then someone said, "Hey, I saw you got a credit on this song. Corpus Alienum is the ambient project and of Ken's." And I listened to it and I was just, whoa, it was so lush, so warm, so cinematic. Just like, holy crap. I just had no idea he had that ability, that production ability. So I was like, hey, I'd love to play on more of your stuff, and I'd love for you to take a look at what I'm working on. I had some stuff in the can that I'd recorded here, and he had some great ideas, and we've got two songs almost done. Things are slower than we thought. It's always that way. It always takes longer than you think it's going to take. And we're also kind of perfectionists. We really want this thing to be polished, because we're in no hurry, really. I mean, we really want to just do as good of a job as we can before we put it out. So we're going to take our time and get it done right. And I was hoping to get it done by end of this month. It's going to be more early next year. I don't know what's going to be called yet, but I'll be shouting it from the rooftops, that's for sure. And you'll see it at the website and on the social media stuff. I'll be pumping it. I'm doing some teasers right now. I'm putting some teaser videos together with some of the stuff that we've got done so far. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. It's going to be I think 7 songs when we're done. One of them is his. The other 6 I wrote, but he's had a huge part in the arrangements and playing a lot of guitar and drums and bass. Honestly, so just depending on the song. But yeah, he's a great collaborator, and you should check out Ken Case's stuff and Corpus Alienum also. It's brilliant.
I will most definitely do that. I want to encourage everybody to go to your website as well. I can't wait to see some of those teasers. I won't keep you much longer. Let's talk about El Monstero. What is that feeling like to be up on with that production, that stage, and just to never know what's going to come out of Jimmy's mouth, but and enjoying that show. I mean, when I watch you guys perform, I kind of sit there and go, wow, that's got to feel amazing up there with that production and everything that's going on.
Yeah, it's the most elaborate, like state of the art production, like stuff that they throw everything they've got at it. And the cool thing is it's all homegrown. It's all St. Louis
Yeah,
people, all St.
that's
Louis
awesome.
production companies. And I've known all the guys in the band forever also. But I mean, I knew them a long time before it started, and we're in our 26th year. So
That's crazy.
is it
26 years.
26?
Wow.
1999, well, the first one was at Mississippi Night, and then pageant opened in 2000, and we started doing it there around Christmas. And originally, it was the guys from Stir. So that was Kevin Gagnon-Payne and Brad Booker and Andy Schmidt. And they would do this when they were home for the holidays, when they weren't touring. And they started out doing it at Boomers, I think, on the landing. And then they're like, well, let's add some singers and a keyboard player, and we can get Dave play sax, and we'll do a big elaborate production of it down at Mississippi Nights. And that did well. I'm pretty sure it sold out that first night. I mean, the place was full. And it was so much fun. And we had Darren Pierce on keys. He was covering all the keys. But you asked about the experience of it. I'm not going to go on the whole history, but
No, that it's interesting because I had no idea it was 26 years. I mean,
yeah,
just
it's
time flies by
crazy.
way too
It's
fast. Yeah.
crazy. I mean, we didn't start doing the Riverport stuff until, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years ago. I don't remember when we started doing that, but we started out, like I said, Mississippi Nights, and then pageant started out 2 nights, 3 nights, and it's just, now it's like 7 nights, and it's crazy. It's turned into a family affair, because it's a homegrown thing. There's only a few degrees separation between the people in the audience because they know somebody that's either in the band or in the production or brother,
Right.
sister-in-law or whatever of somebody that's involved in El Monstero. So it's absolutely a St. Louis thing, and it's just grown and gotten bigger and bigger and crazier and crazier. But being on stage with all that production, it doesn't even seem real. It's surreal. That's the best word I can come up with. It just doesn't seem real, especially at Riverport. Just seeing that ocean of people out there. I think I don't know, 11 or 12,000, I guess, is around what we've got in the last few years, and it's everything you want to do when you decide to get into rock and roll. Get on a big stage and play for a ton of people with a lot of crazy lights and explosions, and just go freaking nuts. It's a dream. And I get to participate. Believe it or not, they've kept me on all this time, so I'm very grateful for that.
Well, they should. Well, you know what? I won't keep you. In closing, Soul String's all about the connection between music and the heart. What's the message or feeling you hope people walk away with after they see you perform or sing or play?
I think if people could find and get the inspiration from what they do on a daily basis that I get from music, if I could inspire anyone to go for it and just go for, like, search your heart, search your feeling. What's the thing that lights you up? What's the thing that makes time stop for you? That's the sweet spot. When you're in the flow, when you don't have to think about it, it just comes natural as breathing. Then you know what you're supposed to be doing in this life, or the thing that turns you on, that's the thing you were meant to do, because that's where the energy's flowing the most. So pay attention to that and do that thing. That would be my suggestion. That would be my advice.
Well, Dave, I want to thank you for your time today, buddy. It was great we've crossed each other's paths, really never have sat down, got a chance to talk with each
No,
other.
I really, that's so great to hang out.
Yeah, I mean, all the people we talk about and mention, it's like someday I'll have to tell you my good George Patzos, Jimmy Griffin story. Well, I won't
Oh,
do that today, but
please do. Please do. It might not be meant for prime time though, right?
yeah. No, it's just a funny story, but people have heard me talk about it in the past, so I won't bore them
Okay.
with it again. But Dave Farver, everybody, thank you so much for your time. I encourage everybody to go to davefarvermusic.com. He's got his whole list of where they're playing with Super Jam and all the different bands he's playing with. You can go there and find that out and find the information. Encourage you to go see him, go see Super Jam while they're still playing and together. And it's just a great show, and it brings us back to a time where things were simpler. Dave, thank you again. Appreciate you. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you when you're on stage, brother.
Thank you so much, Gordon. Appreciate it, man. Have a good
You
one.
bet. Bye bye.
See ya.